Ibrahim Traore can't be the only person calling everybody out.
Exactly.
If you get to a place where Trump is calling you out for atrocities, you need to check yourself.
Imagine
if Trump is calling you out, like Trump,
like you actually need to ask yourself, am I on the right track?
nilifanya nini
Yeah,
for me to be on his radar?
exactly.
And you see, I don't think they look, when these things are happening, they don't look at their terms in longevity. Because you stay in Kenya, you will steal money, you will do whatever. But when you go to this international summits where you're supposed to represent the interests of Kenyans, actually, you who stole an election up to 100% of a win, how do you stand in front of the world and talk to them about democracy? On what leg are you standing?
Kwanza, you remember this other, is he a senator?
Yes.
Who said, Ati, if they're in your country, deal with them
And then return us so that we finish deal. I'm like,
those are the leaders you've voted for, guys.
Imagine there's someone speaking like that in Kenya. Hi guys, welcome to the Rundown. My name is Mihala Barasa.
And I'm Danin Zuko.
And today, this is a Christmas special. We've never done a Christmas special, by the way.
No, we've only done a photo shoot.
We've done a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Should we post those pictures?
No, we're doing another one.
Okay, good. I was fishing. If you've never worn matching pajamas, this is your chance to get jealous. I hope you're jealous, Nancy.
Yes.
Anyway, on today's episode, we are going to do a recap of events in 2025 that shaped the economic and political world. It's basically just a highlight of what we think about the events of 2025. But before we begin, have you subscribed? If you've not, honor us by subscribing. Just here. Turn on the notification bell so that you can know when we post new episodes. And if you've subscribed, thank you so much for supporting our channel. Daniel, would you like to take it away?
Yes. So, as we began 2025, boy, a lot happened. Do you guys feel like this year has been a long year?
It has. It has been a long year.
It's been a long year. So, as we were closing 2024, Americans went to the poll and decided.
America decides.
They decided that they do not want to push the feminist agenda. So they decided to go back to 1920 and voted for Trump. Oh my God, Ntanyimo Visaya US. I'm sorry.
I hope you love Kenya.
So they voted for their current president, Donald Trump. And when he came into power, there are some changes that affected most of the world. One of the key changes was cutting off financial aid from the rest of the world. This was because, according to him, the American taxpayer was spending a lot of money on foreign aid. Yeah. So he decided that needs to stop. And one of the major organizations that was affected by this was USAID. And USAID had various other smaller organizations that it was funding. So this shutting down of USAID had a ripple effect in the, let's call it, aid sector. Yes. So one of the key things was we noticed that kumbe African governments were not budgeting for a lot of
issues.
I know.
A lot of healthcare issues.
I know.
Oh my God. Maternal health in the pits. HIV AIDS in the pits. Like,
these guys were literally just waiting.
Malnutrition in the pits.
We were behaving, the way you normally wait for that relative that lives abroad to be sending money for your upkeep. That was literally what Africa was doing with healthcare. Literally. So I hope it was a wake-up call for African presidents to actually look into budgeting for healthcare. And areas like HIV, maternal health care, TB,
malnutrition,
yes,
malaria.
Those are very critical areas in terms of healthcare that the African governments need to step up and figure out how to handle that whole space now that the US government has exited that space.
Yeah. And I think as long as he's in power, we're not going to see a return of it. Yes. So a lot of non-governmental organizations that were receiving funding from USAID, even the ones that are really not USAID itself, were affected. They had to lay off their staff.
Yes.
They had to have austerity measures. They had to reduce salaries. And you see, you cannot tell, your employer cannot take you to court and say, you are not paying me enough. And they see that the funding is no longer there.
Yes, that's true.
One of the interesting things that came up is there's an NGO that I support, and they now ask me to change their contracts to reflect, like, if funding becomes an issue, then like, we are not going to be able to pay your salary. So that they formed that as part of the employment contract. So we also saw a policy shift or change in a lot of NGOs and employers because of the directive.
Yes. And I think also a lot of organizations started thinking more broadly about funding, having different sources of funding. Yes, just to ensure that their programs are not instantly shut down.
Because there's some NGOs that actually, like, everything just went.
Yes, they actually completely closed down. Yeah. Okay. So that's what happened when Donald Trump came into power. For you, what was stood out for you in 2025?
I think for me, it's the ripple effect of the finance bill of 2025. One of the things, and I'll not get into the details of the bill, for me, it's more the reception of the bill. I think it demonstrated Kenyans as a bolder nation, because we were like, mnataka turudi tena kwa streets tuwaonyeshe.
Yeah, we're not doing this again. Yeah.
And I think one of the bold steps that Kenyans made was to go to the streets and protest again. This is something that happened last year, and it's happened again. Now, I don't know if you're going to make it an annual thing, which would really be impactful and nice, but I think that is one of the things that stood out. What stood out from that whole concept is the lives that were lost.
Yes.
And the police brutality that was accompanying the Gen Z protests, both in 2024 and 2025. And one of the things that the citizens we were saying basically is, we've not even healed and even gotten reprieve from the deaths that happened in 2024. Yet again, we come into 2025 and there's this merciless killings that and this police brutality that just plagued the nation. I remember when the BBC documentary came out, the one that was like focusing and showing, and you remember, did you the documentary?
Yes.
I remember when that documentary came out, and the government was so quick to try and patch their mistakes. They're like, oh no, those are not policemen, this did not happen. And yet those people were in police uniforms.
Yes.
I think we moved a step further to like look at, be able to see who are part of that violation. And like Kenyans say, watu wengi walisalimiwa. But I think we still have a long way to go in learning how to deal with protests, and actually our government has a lot to learn in how to deal with protests and expression when it comes to things that Kenyans do not like. Because in this sense, we saw, obviously, there was buying of goons, people being beaten in town, businesses being destroyed. And if you ask me, I do not genuinely think the Gen Zs of Kenya, I'm not saying that they are perfect, I'm just saying they don't want to loot your shops.
Yeah.
If you listen to them and you look at what they come to town to do during this protest, their main aim is to just walk in the street.
Yes.
With their flags, and our main aim is to show that we are protesting this thing. When it gets to a point where businesses are being
looted, Those are people who...
those are people
goons who infiltrated the peaceful
protests. Yeah. And I think the government needs to reconcile with the fact that people will protest.
Yeah.
They have to find a way to make it safe for us to protest.
And one of the things that the government needs to remember, not everyone would like what you say or what policies you
put in place.
And just to add on to the finance bill, one of the saddest things that happened this year was a techie who was arrested for creating a platform where people could be able to give feedback or enabling public participation on the finance bill. Yeah.
And I think when you look at it, it was a good move. It was a way of telling the government, look, this is where we want to be giving our views. Yes. Give us a platform like this one. It's the same thing that is happening with the voter registration.
Yeah.
And they're saying people are not registering. But one, there are a lot of challenges with where you're supposed to register. You go to a center. Probably the center is not there. They send you 3 or 4 doors down. Those teething issues, granted, they'll be there. But if you're saying that you want the age group between 18 and 30, for example, to vote, you have to make it easier for them. You have to make it accessible. You have to you have to show them through social media, this is what you do. If there's an easier way that I could get on my phone and register as a voter, I think it would be fine. Even if you'd say, okay, we are going to put a desk at every Huduma center, go and be attended to there, and do extreme sensitization so that these people can come to register as voters, because some of them don't know the importance, don't understand the importance of being a registered voter. Yes, we know, but do we really get the importance of it? And I don't blame them, because I was speaking about this to one of my colleagues last week, and I was saying it's so unfortunate that when you look at our history and government textbooks, our social studies textbooks, the civics part, the constitution, elections, strikes, labor movements, was like the last 2-3 topics. It was like a very small part of what we are being taught.
Yeah.
Whereas when you come into the real world, you're supposed to be at the forefront of understanding the constitution and understanding your rights. So you're learning all these things about mekatilili wamenza, sijui kinjeketile ngwale, you're learning all these things that when you come to the outside world, they are okay, but they are not as important as someone that would have extensively taught you your right to vote, extensively address the right to health, extensively address the right to education. It can't be like 4 pages of a compressed syllabus.
Yeah.
I think that's the one part of the syllabus that has to be expanded and extrapolated.
Which makes sense. So civic education should start from a young age.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing that we saw in 2025 was, the increase of debt in Kenya, which necessitated the president and parliament to enact privatization legislation. So basically what this means is we now have a legislation that helps the government to privatize certain state assets. So the first one that has been privatized this year, or is in the process of being privatized, is the Kenya Pipeline Corporation. Yes. Mihala, tell me, what are your thoughts on privatization?
I think the spirit of what we are trying to do is right, but then what the problem is the process that goes into it. Because you see, the way I conceptualize it, and I'm not a privatization or public entity expert, but the way I see it is, if you're a proper public entity, there's a level of accountability that comes with being in the public. But if it's a privatized institution, it's very easy for it to become a cartel.
Yes.
It's very easy for single people to infiltrate. It's very easy for something like KPC to lose what it was initially meant to do. The other thing that I have not quite understood is, if we are privatizing it, what is the process in law? And is that process being properly followed? Because then, if that process is not being clearly and properly followed, that would then mean that gems of the nation like Okia Omtata will constantly be in court trying to challenge and defend that privatization. So I think in their heads, probably they usually think we are doing the right thing. But the way it lands on the ground is a problem, because this is a public entity. Again, go back to public participation. Say, okay, we are looking to privatize ABCDE. What are your thoughts?
Now that you've talked about it, one of the things that happens, or that was very interesting for me when I was looking at the privatization bill, is the Privatization Act, is that public participation is not there. Yes. Just allow me to just open it quickly and read for you the steps that are going to be followed during privatization. I think I'd really want to sit down with the president and understand what goes on in his head. I'm not so sure. Anyway, I am yet to understand a lot of things.
And you see, even before you speak about that public participation, I think, again, I might not be getting this right, but I think part of the reason why it was so much opposed is because one of the, so he's not a regulator, one of the industry players, the Consumer Federation of Kenya, was actually saying there has been no public participation in the trying to privatize this. And what does public participation of something like KPC look like? It's telling us, look, we are having a budget deficit of XYZ. We are looking to raise 100 billion for the 2025-2026 budget. Because of that, we are looking to privatize KPC. And you don't say this in a statement. You come back and say, okay, so what do you as citizens opine of this?
Exactly.
What are other ways that we can help achieve this 100 billion deficit without really having to throw our institutions to the dogs, as people put it?
Exactly.
Because you remember even the protest in Occupy JKIA, part of it was he's selling the airport. And
yes. In the guise of public-private partnership. Yes. Okay. So basically, the Privatization Act, of course, mandates the creation of a privatization authority. Now, under the privatization authority, there will be a privatization program. So basically, the privatization program will be doing recommendations to the Cabinet Secretary of Treasury on public entities that require privatization. Yes. So once these entities have been identified, and the Cabinet Secretary has said it's okay, you can put them in the privatization program, then this this will be forwarded to the National Assembly for ratification. Then once they are forwarded to the National Assembly for ratification, based on that, now it goes, once the Parliament has approved, then the privatization program starts.
So there's no element of public participation there at all.
Yes. Unless it's captured somewhere else,
but not clearly in
this act. Yes. Now that's now the challenge that's there. So basically, that means that they can decide to privatize public entities that probably provide essential services to Kenyans, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Unasikia?
I think, wow. As I said, I would really want to sit with the president and understand the rationale behind some of these decisions that are being made. Yeah. Because we're going to lose some state symbols.
We are.
Yeah.
And it's going to, and again, comes back to the issue of accountability. If we do not, and I'm not saying our public institutions are the most accountable on earth, but it gives you some level of a little shame on me.
Exactly.
But if you've privatized it and people are doing whatever they are doing behind the curtains,
we're like, we are not the ones who own it.
See it.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Mihala, back to you.
I think for me, another thing that stood out is, may God rest his soul, the death of Raila Amolo Odinga, who can be said to have been a kingmaker and a perennial change maker in Kenyan politics. I think one of the things that we have to appreciate about Raila is wherever and whenever he moved, he was the face of democracy for Kenya.
Yes.
There are some decisions that I think he made that might not have looked like they were the best at the time. But when you look at the outcomes, they look like they would give the best outcomes for the country.
Yeah.
A good example for me is a decision that I really, really did not agree with when he decided to join the government this year.
The current government, yes.
Yes. And I was just like, what is this? Like, this man can't be serious. But upon his death, I looked at it and I thought, had he not joined the government, I do not know the level of bloodshed with our current volatile political climate that would have been there from the backlash from his demise. So at the time, it didn't look like it was a proper decision, and there are still elements of it that still don't make sense to me as a Kenyan. But when you look at it in the long game, he definitely knew whatever it was that he was doing.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think I read this somewhere, I think it must have been on Lynn Ngugi's YouTube page, is he is one of the few political leaders who really supported freedom of the media. It did not matter what you said or did to him, he would not sue the media. And he would not sue media personnel.
Yeah.
Which is strange for someone who has a political career spanning 5-6 decades.
I know.
You've never sued a media house. You've never sued
a journalist.
You've never sued a journalist in your entire life. And because of the magnitude of how magnanimous his political following is, he was bound to offend quite a few people.
Yes.
I'm sure there are hundreds, thousands who are constantly offended by what he said. And there are hundreds, thousands who constantly offended him. But from that particular statement, I was like, there was something about this leader that was outstanding.
And an addition to that is, after his demise, there are a lot of people who came out and they were talking about how he helped them with policy reforms, especially when he was the prime minister. And he did a lot of things, chini ya maji, without taking credit for them. So I think that was very interesting to learn. And I would say that is a very good lesson for leaders to learn, because I feel like a lot of times people do things to be seen, not because they genuinely want to do help them. Yeah.
I think for me, the other thing that I was discussing with Diana about him was that he seemed like one of those leaders that were very politically accommodating. There's a level of accommodation that is there even in his party that you look at and you're like, he said that about Baba or to Baba, and Baba still didn't do anything about it.
Yes.
And this comes out clearly even in his negotiated settlement.
Try with other people.
Try with other parties. Tomorrow you will wake up, you're not that party leader. Or
You
you are not in that party.
There's this chick who was in the Senate, the one who was she was a nominated senator, and then now she's been ousted.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yes, like that one.
Try another quarters.
You see, the thing about him is, even when you look at his history with the 1990 democracy movements, the 2007 elections, he always literally had to be always the bigger man. He was always the person that would say, let's put a stop to the bloodshed, let's put a stop to this. And even the way the ODM party members, I don't know if you watch a lot of politicians, but the way ODM party members speak about their party, especially the ones that love it, they say it outrightly. ODM is a democratic party. If tomorrow my party leader has chosen that they want Ndanu for president and I want Marvin, I will vote for Marvin. Even if Ndanu is the chairman of the party. And they say that, and they are leaders in the party, and nothing happens to them.
Yes.
They're just like, oh, Mimi, I'm moving away from Ndanu's politics because I don't agree with 1, 2, 3, but I still stand with the democratic tenets of the party.
Yeah.
I feel like, to me, that is accommodating. It's a quality of a good leader.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. Something else that happened this year was there was a lot of push online to end gender-based violence. This started last year and it has continued on to this year. And even in the month of November, ladies had put their background as purple on social media. And first of all, I think we need to acknowledge that gender-based violence is actually a problem in Kenya. And whenever it's difficult to solve problems when you've not acknowledged that you have a problem. Yeah. So it's good to acknowledge that, yes, we have a challenge here and this is what needs to be done. Yes, women need to feel safer in this country. We need to create more awareness on gender-based violence. We need our men to also
be part of
this conversation.
Yes.
I think that's one of the things that would help to drive this conversation. Yeah. I think, was it last year, where every day there was a woman who was being
assaulted,
who was experiencing gender-based violence. There was a report.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, there was a report that was done by the police showing that every day they were receiving a report of gender-based violence.
And you remember those are reports that people have made
to the police.
Yes, there's some cases that have not been reported.
Yes. Yeah. So we need to take this matter as a very serious issue, and we need to end gender-based violence in Kenya and femicide. Yeah.
Speaking about that, I think one of the things that has endeared me to Joanna Kinuthia is her stand on gender-based violence.
Yes.
She took the gender-based violence agenda and almost made it her own. And she was not doing it like she's bashing anyone, or she was just like, this is what I stand for.
Yes.
And this is what my brand stands for, and this is what I want to be known for.
Yeah.
I really respect content creators.
I loved that campaign.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who actually stand for something. Yes. I think for me, the other thing that I can say stood out is the shift in cross-border relationships between East African countries, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. Well, Rwanda, Burundi, we've not quarreled too much. I think they have their own issues that they're dealing with at home.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's just the cross-border war between Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And I'm using the term war lightly. I think there is a consensus of our leaders and then there's a consensus of the citizens, and then it's the 3 countries' citizens against the 3 country leaders.
Yes.
There was a joke on on X. Someone was calling them the East African basement crew.
The 3 presidents.
The 3 presidents.
I agree with that.
Because you see, like in all 3 countries, we're witnessing human rights violations, we're witnessing killings, we're witnessing. I remember when Ugandans said, we just tried a little to do a protest.
Yeah.
It did not succeed. And then we've seen what has recently happened in Tanzania, which has been very unfortunate, and what happened in Kenya during our protest as well, which has been very, very unfortunate. I think there's a shift in what East Africans want for their leadership. Yes. And it's very evident with how countries are coming out to express themselves. One of the conversations I was listening to this week is the conversation by Nick Oyo and Bob Njagi, who are allegedly abducted and put in a container somewhere in a military camp in Uganda.
Yeah.
And they came back and they were telling harrowing stories of what they went through. Yet our government was not proactive enough to go and pick them out of that country. They were there for 38 days. And yet, even when they came and sat in the news, they were telling the press, imagine what we went through in Uganda is less brutal compared to what they do to us when we are arrested in Kenya. Oh. Contrast that with the time that, unfortunately, Baba passed away. And His Excellency, I like to call him His Excellency, His Excellency Tundu Lissu's people were on the Isibania border. And what did Kenyans do? They broke into the Tanzanian border and brought the person to the funeral.
Yes.
You know, there's a difference in how the government is handling these issues and how the citizens themselves are handling these issues. And
you remember even Boniface Mwangi's incident in Tanzania?
Yes.
It was
and
this
that
year.
Ugandan lady. Yes, it was this year.
Yeah.
And the Ugandan lady as well.
Yeah.
And they went to Tanzania and they were abducted and our governments they're in this boys club that they're now at a place where they're saying, if you find them in Tanzania, return them to us. We want to deal.
Kwanza, you remember this other, is he a senator?
Yes.
Who said, if they're in your country, deal with
them and then return us so that we finish deal. I'm like,
those are the leaders you voted for, guys.
Imagine there's someone speaking like that in Kenya. There's Museveni's son who's also spewing nonsense in Uganda.
Yeah.
And then there's that police constable who said he didn't see anything. And in fact, those people were not there in Tanzania.
Imagine.
Like the government and the authorities are like their narrative is locked. And the citizens are here, you know.
Yeah.
But I like the way the citizens choose to address these issues because there's the lady that had been charged with treason in Tanzania. I think she's called Nifa, who has a big shop. And people had flooded her shop to go and finish buying those masks that she was told she's treasonous for selling.
Yes.
You know, there's that. There's you'll see there's Ugandans online supporting Kenyans. You'll see there's Kenyans online supporting Tanzanians. And vice versa. And vice versa. Like we've now seen, even with that cross-border conflict, we're now seeing the rise of political activists that we never knew existed. Yeah. I always knew Bobby Wine as a musician.
Yes.
Now he's one of the greatest activists of all time. I never knew a lot about Mange Kimambi. I used to think she was a socialite.
Yes.
When I look at her profile now, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Case in point, Lynn Ngugi, she's just... So yeah, there's that as well.
I think one of the things that has stood out for me looking at Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania is the presidents. So for example, I would say our president knows what those other people are doing is wrong, but because he wouldn't want them to call him out on the wrong things he is doing, he's not going to call them out. It's like, you know what? You deal with your people. How you
like that Al Jazeera interview.
Yes.
Like, I'll not call you out.
Yeah.
I know it's wrong, but I'll not call you out.
And I'm like, that's so wrong.
And also,
if we are friends, I'm going to tell you, Mihala, what you're doing is wrong.
Right. And that's the reason why Ibrahim Traore can't be the only person calling everybody out.
Exactly.
If you get to a place where Trump is calling you out for atrocities, you need to check yourself.
Imagine.
If Trump is calling you out, like Trump.
Like, you actually need to ask yourself, am I on the right track?
Nilifanya nini?
Yeah.
For me to be on his radar.
Exactly.
And you see, I don't think they look, when these things are happening, they don't look at their terms in longevity. Because you stay in Kenya, you will steal money, you will do whatever. But when you go to this international summits where you're supposed to represent the interests of Kenyans, actually, you who stole an election up to 100% of a win, how do you stand in front of the world and talk to them about democracy? On what leg are you standing?
It's a joke.
Yes,
it's a joke, and it's very sad to see what is happening in the three East African countries. And for Kenya, I would say we had come a long way in terms of democracy, and it would be very sad to see us going back.
And we are not too far.
Yeah,
we're not too far from going back.
We're
not too far from going back.
Yeah. So the last item that we wanted to touch on today was on the strikes, on the labor strikes that have happened this year. I think one of the notable ones was the lecturers' strike. It was very entertaining.
And very long. Did you see the ones for Maseno?
Yeah. Hey,
Maseno. Hey, Maseno.
Lecturers.
Maseno are like,
there.
We're like, we're here to entertain you.
And the ones who are dancing Don Jomaber. What? Professor.
Like, huyu ndo atamark pepa yangu.
Umkute hapo ni professor civil engineering.
I know.
Like, kumbe there's so much math in your head.
You have to find a way to let it out.
Yeah. And okay, now jokes aside, looking at the lecturers' strike, it's also, I would say, the issues with public universities started during the previous government's regime. So one of the things that affected funding in public universities was removing of the parallel program. Yes. Parallel was actually giving cash flow to the universities. And I wonder what was the plan when they were removing the parallel program in terms of funding for the public universities. Yeah. Because when you're removing something, you need to tell us what's the plan.
To put something else in return.
Exactly.
You don't leave a loophole.
Exactly. Because now, how are the universities supposed to be generating
cash flow?
Yes. Because right now, the way we're going to continue seeing a lot of arrears, salary arrears for the lecturers. Increments are going to be a challenge. Yeah. So we need to really scrutinize the university funding model to ensure that our lecturers are actually paid well. And let's not forget, imagine these guys wamesoma mpaka wako na PhD. Some
it's a requirement.
Yes. Some are even called Mr. They've finished doctor, they've gone all the way to Mr. As in, like, let's appreciate what these people are doing. A lot of them are doing research for the universities. They need to be adequately compensated for the work they are doing. And even for them to remain relevant, to churn out students who are market ready. They need to be relevant and they need to be motivated. Otherwise, they'll be showing up there with full scalps from 1960.
And just it'll be like,
yeah, these are the theories of law. And then
I move on.
Yeah, it's like, please, don't stress me. Your government hasn't paid me for the last 3 years. I mean, you need to motivate people.
I think one of the things that was heartbreaking or disheartening to that situation is, for a very long time, I think even throughout the entire 49 days, there was no address by the president. There was no comment. There was like just crickets. Silence. Lakini we ngoja.
Yeah.
Utengeneze meme. Tengeneza tu meme tu. Tengeneza tu meme.
DCI watakupata mpaka ushago.
Wakutafutia kwenye huko. But like this, and remember, like we keep saying, education is an essential service. And then also, at the end of the day, they are training people who are leaving the university and getting straight into the market to practice what they just taught them.
Yes.
Imagine now if those lecturers decided, even though mmeamua, let us teach you the wrong thing.
Exactly.
The next time muko hapo kwa court, we are quoting for you the Constitution of Tanzania.
Yeah. And the lecturers are just there being entertained.
And just there being entertained, being like, okay,
yeah,
And also you don't want to have half-baked or untaught students in universities.
Exactly.
Because, first of all, the most active force in the world is that force between 17 and 24. Leave them idle for 49 days.
Imagine. What were these kids doing?
Ask yourself what those kids
and
were
they
doing.
didn't go back home.
Most of them didn't come home. Most of them didn't come back home. And why didn't they come back home, apart from probably wanting to enjoy time with their friends? At the back of your head, you're like, strike itaisha kesho. And I remember when my younger sister decided to come home, I think she decided to come home like today. And then the next day, the strike ended.
After she had stayed for
like
so
after,
long, she's
yes,
like, okay,
she's like,
we're going
now
to go back
come
to
home.
school in January.
Yeah. Then she planned to come.
Yeah.
I think she planned to come like today, and the strike ended tomorrow. Then she just came back home anyway. She was like, I'm going to just come for the weekend and then go back.
I get.
But that's how badly things have been. Like, you don't even know when the strike will end. And even when this strike was ending, they were saying, we are giving you a return to work formula to pay the 7.9 billion that we owe you in 2 installments. The first one being at the end of November. Like, we're like this.
We're waiting to
We're
see.
like this, hoping at least that money will be paid by end of November. Remember, you've not accounted for raises and maybe some allowances that they're supposed to be given under those CBA agreements. Yeah.
So as we wrap it up, I think it was very interesting to note doctors have been striking every year.
Yes. Doctors have been striking. In fact, let me look for that post. I think Davji... the person I'd like to sit down with is Davji Atela and try and understand how tired and how he's able to sustain
strikes every year.
Yes.
It's like, okay, guys, we're back on the streets.
Like, it's I don't know. It's I look at that guy and I'm just like, this person must be so tired. And he looks so young.
And probably something that the government needs to remember. I don't think there are people don't enjoy constantly being on the street.
We
constantly
don't.
Being on strike. I don't think that's something that the lecturers would have wanted. Yeah. So probably they need to think about essential workers in Kenya, ensure they are adequately compensated, be proactive about engaging the unions and looking into workers' rights, compensation, and such issues.
Going back to Dr. Strike, this one was, what's his name? There's a reporter. He's no longer a reporter. He's a news anchor from Citizen TV called Joseph. I think it's Joseph Bonyo, that recently received an appreciation for his support during the Kiambu doctors' strike. So yes, doctors went on strike this year as well.
Yeah.
And they were just like, you kept talking about, and that's even how I knew, because he just kept hammering and hammering and hammering and hammering.
It's sad. It's very sad. So please tell us in the comment section or in our social media pages, what are the stories that stood out for you this year? Yeah.
We're curious to know.
Yes. Because a lot has happened. I feel like 2025 was a long year. Like, so much happened.
It's 2025.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. 2025. I've said?
You said 2025.
Oh, yes. 2025. It was long. Yeah. But so far, so good. We've made it this far. We thank God.
We'd also like, on that note, we'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas.
And a prosperous New Year.
Tell your family we said Merry Christmas. Tell your mother, tell your father, tell your church, tell the world that we wished you a very, very, very Merry Christmas. We thank you for always coming to hang out with us when we post new videos.
Yeah.
We shall see you in the new year. But before you go, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. Remember to follow us on our social media pages. We are The Rundown on Instagram and TikTok. My personal social media pages are Mihala Barasa on every platform you can ever get.
And I'm Danun Zyuko on the various social media platforms.
And until we see you guys next time,
bye.